Indigo Jaguar, my guest today, and she is a poet and an artist and a tarot expert.
I don't
Well,
know about expert.
ex-
I'm a
expert
reader.
as expert as we can be. And
Mhm.
we are today are going to be doing the Six of Swords. And Sam, welcome. I saw that you popped up here. I hope that you're still here. And Sam is tuning in from Spain, I believe, from Spain. So
Hola.
so yeah. Anyways, I am gonna get started. While I get started, um, um, I'm gonna turn my camera around, and while I am turning my camera around, Heather is
Nancy.
going to tell all about her channel.
Oh wow.
'Cause I know you're running a variety show just like I am, and variety shows have for the most part they don't grow as fast as some channels do, and
Mhm.
then you just never really know. You never really
It
know.
took me 3 years to reach 1,000 subscribers, but for me, it's about the quality over the quantity, really. So we really do have the best chatters and subscribers, in our community. So love them all. And there's Jackie. Hello from the Czech Republic. Good, you got there safely, my dear. Mwah. Good
Jackie
to see
and
you.
oh, so Jackie's Crystal Moon is over in the Czech Republic. Oh,
Well, she's
wonderful.
in Ireland, but she's visiting the Czech Republic for the holidays. I guess they're
Oh,
having weeks.
for the
So
holidays. Okay, then when she gets back from the Republic, then she can be a guest on my show too.
I don't know, Jackie. I
Well,
think that would be
I,
great.
I reached
Fabulous.
out. She wasn't able to. She had some issues. She wasn't able to do it then. So she said like in a month or so. We're getting close to that month mark.
She's grand, right?
Anyway,
Jackie? Yeah,
I want to
grand.
welcome. I want to welcome everyone there, and I'm going to be turning my camera around, and she's going to be talking here,
I'm going to be
and I'm going to
talking.
do this without showing off the clutter. Okay, so I'm gonna.
I'm going to be talking.
Yeah, you do the talking, and
Hello,
I.
everybody. Well, most of everybody in chat already knows who, who I am. So,
I know,
um,
but there may be some people who watch this on the
yeah,
playback who
I'm
do not
playback.
know who you are.
Yes. So, and Elizabeth, the more intuitive me, is here. Ange is here. Essence of the Moonbill, that's Selena. So,
Well,
yes.
Essence
Um,
of the Moon had she did a card here. Let me see. Um, the Mama Sushi did this one last week.
very cool.
Um, the more intuitive Elizabeth did this one last week or the week before, and then Mama. Let me see. Which one did Celine do? And we have, oh wow, there's quite a few. Anyways,
You've been a busy
and
one.
then Anne did. I don't remember which one she did. Maybe essence of maybe Celine can say which one she did, and that to jog my memory. And anyway, so I'm gonna get started because she wanted a on the swords an ice blue
Yeah, I
kind
thought.
of a.
Yeah, for me, the swords are about thought. It's communication. It's air. And with me connected with like the Celtic pagan wheel of the year too. It's also not just a pale blue, but very pale yellow, very white too, with the traditional medicine wheel of quite a few of the indigenous peoples of northern and south Mexico. So for me, automatically, the swords were all for to have some sort of white, silvery blue tinge to them. And I saw Michelle is here. Hello, Michelle. Juan, I saw you popping by and saying hi, Juan Carlos. So for really quick for people who don't know me and early Tom, early rituals here. So for new people, really quick, my name is Heather. My channel's Indigo Jaguar. I am a reader of sorts of tarot, oracle, I love to use a pendulum, Lynn Norman. I am an artist. I have a fine arts degree in painting from Buffalo State College. I've taken Reiki. I love crystals. But foremost, my art is my has been my soul calling, my true calling, my soul calling. But my channel, I love to do the Divine Feminine with Nancy at Crohn's Intuition on Mondays. We do that at 5 p.m. every Monday, and that's Eastern Standard Time, where we celebrate the Divine Feminine through Goddess, through women in history, in different cultures. Um, Fridays, I have kind of like what Bill mentioned, like a variety show. I have Allison, Aries Girl Tarot. She hangs out with me. Sometimes we have guests. Sometimes we do paranormal readings. We do having paranormal discussions. Um, Sometimes we just have a lot of fun, just talking off cuff things about what's important to us or what's happened to us during the week. We always invite chat to share what's been going on with them. And then during the week, I do a few pop ups here and there. And who's in chat. Her and I have been having a lot of fun with the lyrical live stream. Um, and so and she's got like three planned already for March. So totally looking forward to those where we incorporate music. I love music as well. I've taken different instruments up during my lifetime. Music's been a very important part of my life. Always also being a choir and things, and poetry. Yes, we do poetry. A few was it last year? I had done poetry for a while with Jeff Terrell Ask Backwards. Please check out his channel. He's an incredible poet, incredible reader. And now Karen Care Bear, Bard of Cards. Her and I are doing a new poetry show called Mystic Poet. Mystic. Oh my god. Its abbreviation is MAPS, Mystical Poet Society. And so yeah, I love to, mix my different loves of my life, my art, my music, in with the divination oracle. So that's pretty much what Heather likes music, never
Yeah,
realized.
it's a
Well,
concept. Yeah. It's
oh,
been Mitch
uh,
S is here, and
yeah,
make sure that
we're
I
out
put a link
today.
to Heather's channel. So if you haven't subscribed to her channel, go to her channel. She's at 1,400 subs right now, and I'm getting close to 1,000. And so I took
Woo-hoo.
the liberty of talking while you were talking. I took the liberty of making the handles on the swords a pale yellow,
Okay.
and then I think I'll take this piece and I'll would a golden color work here because I have that metallic.
Too, because when you play with colors, you love to work with complements. Being an artist, Bill, you don't understand about complements. So when it comes to blue, typically it's orange, but another beautiful complement to blue is yellow. So I think that yellow gold paired with the
I'll
light
do
blue,
that. I'll do that
perfect
for the
words.
hilt.
It's
For the hilt.
gorgeous.
And so you're kind of bringing onto this stop when you're handling this sword, this kind of a shiny golden color. And
Mhm.
yeah,
As I was sharing with Bill backstage, I went and grabbed out a few of my decks that I haven't fully packed away yet for our move. And him and I both had the Six of Swords from the Artist Decoded. And I was sharing with Bill, if the Six of Swords is about leaving things behind, leaving the past behind, leaving things that might have been problematic, traumatic, going across calmer waters to the other side. And with kind of like an almost traditional Six of Swords, you really don't get that. You don't get that feeling. Um, so for me, I love the Heaven and Earth, how it has that very deep, muted um, tone to its palette, and but yet still having the light moving ahead with the Six of Swords from the Ars Decoded. I love that the boat is red as well, and then you have some of this dark, like churning energy, leaving the past behind, and the Theodore. I just love the illustrations on the Theodore and the simple colors, and there again is that lovely red. I love that red. So
mhm.
Bill, when it comes to the boat, I was thinking about maybe like a reddish color for the boat. What do you think?
Oh, I think it's fine. You're the director here, and so
I'm not used to
so
telling how to
I know
color.
that I sometimes will be taking the liberty to pulling other colors out, but I think I'm going to add just a few other layers of color in here, just to of your kind
Jazz
of
it up.
your blue, and trying to keep with that theme. And so you talked about the swords in here, and but um, with your degree in art, did you ever teach school?
I did, well, yes and no. Um, I would try to, I would like, try to give like tips and hints, to friends and stuff over the years. But what I really did enjoy doing was briefly after we moved back here to Niagara Falls, I was with a place called the Niagara Arts and Cultural Center. They're still up and running. It's a nonprofit, and it's the original Niagara Falls High School that they were going to condemn about, I think, almost 20 years ago now. It'll be about 20 years since it's been saved. And the architecture, everything was just absolutely starting to fall apart, but a lot of it was still gorgeous. So they started converting the old classrooms into studios for artists, musicians. Um, there's people that do jewelry. There's people that do ballet. There's a woman right now. Her name is Barbara. Her and Liz work with special needs adults, and they do artwork and shops like that. When I was more of a participant, there was summer art camps, and for a couple of summers, I got to work with kids. One summer, it was with beading. We were doing beading projects and a little bit of art on the side. And then the following summer, I got to do art. And it was just absolutely amazing. I was teaching kids about different artists. I was letting them paint. And then my favorite of all time was when I introduced the kids to Jackson Pollock. And
Mm.
I said, he used to stand over his paintings and he would drip and throw paint and get into like a dance and movement and lay colors down. And when I asked the kids if they wanted to try something like that, they were like, sure. And it was a big hit. The kids absolutely loved themselves. So for me,
Mm.
seeing the kids enjoying being able to express themselves without no rules, really, just having fun, dripping and splattering the paint and the colors. Um, that was just a lot of beautiful memories for me. And then a few times over the years, because I do have um, a mental health diagnosis, I do sometimes peer work with others, and a few times I did some women's art workshops at the hospital for women, who were outpatients or inpatients. And we would do collage, we would color, we would paint, mixed media. So at some point, I would like to do that again. And hopefully, maybe I can do that in Oregon, once I get settled. So
So I was kind of curious, what did you do in your early life for work? Were you like a typical artist where you did a lot of odd jobs here and there? Because I know you kind of talked a little bit about this on Ramon's show the other day, a little bit, because I think he pulled a job card out, and
yeah.
I was,
Well,
but I think everybody was hung up on Hershey's first legal job thing, and
now we got Hershey. Is it the legal or the illegal? It was funny. That was great. Hershey's amazing. I love her sense of humor. That was a
yeah.
lot of night. We had an absolute blast. But for me, I never really did any jobs for art. I rarely had made any sort of money or anything with my art. Not until, I had a friend. I'm no longer friends with her, but from time to time, her or her mom would purchase a few pieces for me when I was in college. Um, but it really wasn't until we had moved here, had to move back to New York in the falls, where I was able to start having some shows. But I always make more than I sell. But for me, early on, it was just mostly, about the art, my art. was my saving grace. I pretty much grew up with my mom, single parent. We moved around almost every year, sometimes twice a year, changing schools a lot and stuff. So it was very difficult. And for me, art was always
A
my
constant.
my poetry, my arts, wanting to write lyrics. I would sing, I would listen to music. That is what got me through. Yeah.
Your constant companion was your art. Okay,
Yes.
let's go into my colors of red here, and I want you to select that red that you think that this the boat should be. So I have red beginning over here. They're
I'm
kind of
thinking like a red mahogany, like a deep red, because you got the wood of the boat, but I love that deeper reddish, harder, like mahogany redwood. So do you have anything that's like a mahogany color?
what is this like that?
Well, it's kind of hard for me to see on my phone. Um, well, I'll let.
So
Well, wait a minute, right there. What's your finger on? Nope, that one. What is that?
this one is dark red.
What about the one next to it?
This one is sienna.
Oh, because it looks like it's almost like a dark red on this end. Well, I would suggest maybe something that's like a dark red that might have like a warm brownish overtone to it.
So it looks like it might be these two ones here.
So yeah, pick
And
which
well,
one.
how about I come over here, and this one is that's the dark red, and that's the sienna.
Here, let me pull my. So everybody, I'm going to get really big into the camera. Hold on a second, and I got to take my glasses off. I like the one that is on the right.
On the right. Okay.
That's got a nice reddish, and you can always combine them too. If you lay like a light brown
Yep,
down or something, or and
that's
then you go over
exactly what will
a
be here.
darker red. Yep, even Tom said go with the sienna. There we go.
Okay, we'll start with the sienna, and then I'll layer in these other two colors in as well. And
So what?
so then they are the dark red and then spring red. Those are the other ones. They were
I
all
like the
adjacent here.
darkest red that has maybe like a warm brown like overtone to it. That would be my ideal.
Okay. All righty.
But you were asking about art with jobs. I actually did have it was a hard job sometimes, but it was also a great job. For about 3 years, I was a security guard for the Albright Knox Art Gallery. It's an internationally well known gallery. And this is going back in the 90s when I was in college. And I got to stand. I had to, I was one of the ones that would guard the artwork, and so I get to see every day Monet. We didn't have a lot of, big collections, but a lot of like postmodern pop art. It was just incredible the art that I got to see. We had all sorts of genres, and what was even cooler is that sometimes I had to work the midnight shift. And the
Yeah.
midnight shift, I would have to make my rounds throughout all the different buildings. And not only did I hear footsteps following me and hear conversations, so there was a paranormal aspect to it, which was pretty cool. But I also got to go down into the vaults and I could pull out the racks of paintings that some people don't get to see at all or rarely get to see. So I would, take a break. I will pull out the racks, look at paintings. I mean, it was cool. It really was. So,
Wasn't there a movie about this?
hmm?
Wasn't there a movie like this called like Night of the Museum or something like that?
Well, that's when everything came alive, but
Yeah, yeah. Nothing came alive. Well, that's what it reminded me of. Is you had all these footsteps. They're following you around,
well, here and
and
there, I would be like, it's certain, like, I would hear that mostly. Like, there's a section of building now. They've done a major renovation. I haven't seen it yet, but the main building itself was built at the turn of the century for one of the world fairs. And so you're talking, oh, it was about almost 100 years, you know, right there. And with all the parties and things that have gone on there, there would be times when, I think I would hear footsteps. Well, I know I would hear footsteps, but I would walk in, I had my flashlight on, and I would just say, "It's okay, it's just me, just making sure the artwork is okay, the building is safe, not gonna harm anybody," and then, I wouldn't hear anything, but there were a few times when I would walk down certain hallways and it would sound like I heard a party going on, and, by the time I would get up there, the sound would stop, so, yeah, it was quite an interesting, job to have, so,
Well,
disembodied.
that's pretty fascinating, Heather. I mean, that's and so then you would hear parties going on, and what was like the most unusual thing you heard while you were um
Well
alone at
Well,
night?
something that I didn't necessarily hear myself, but I kept my eye open for it. But there was an old wrought iron spiral staircase in the main gallery upstairs. And people had reported over the years that they would see like a white mist or feminine, like a white feminine mist walking up and down it. Now, I've never seen that with my eyes directly, but there are times when things would move by, by my eyes, and I would kind of look and say, "What was that?" And I wasn't quite into like understanding the paranormal and everything right then, but I still would have the feeling like, yeah, there's something here. But some people actually got to see, they kind of called her the White Lady, uh,
Oh,
and she would be on this very old, yeah. But I got to see, some amazing art, especially exhibitions. Chihuly, if anybody can go and see a show with Chihuly, his glass artwork, absolutely incredible. Um, so yeah, I think one of my now it wasn't being a part of, being part of the security guard for the Albright, but when I was in college, I was a member of the Visual Arts Board, and a couple times for a period I was president, and then I was, in charge of, having to schedule the live models and things and stuff and whatnot. But we got to go on trips that were, that we got for funding, and we got to go to other museums, and I was so excited to be able I was able to go. I've been to New York once. If anybody can get to the Guggenheim or the MoMA, or the Met, at least once in your lifetime, oh, do it. It's incredible artwork. When we went to Boston, um, they were having a major Monet retrospective. We didn't know that. I walked in. I am bawling. I am like, oh my God, I love these Monets. You go into this dimly lit room and they have the lights over the lilies, the water lilies from Giverny. Oh, just absolutely. So, yeah, I've had quite the life. I can't complain really with experiences.
what do you think so far? I took the liberty of coloring the slats on the boards here, kind of similar colors that you've
They'll be
chosen.
able to pull it up a little bit higher because I can't see the boat because
Oh, okay. All right. Let me do that.
oh, that looks good. Yes.
Okay. All right.
And just one more thing too on the swords, maybe the thin slats of the swords, maybe a little bit of a darker blue to separate the the uh the shape of the blades, the separation. You know what I mean?
You mean that black line that I can't do anything about?
No, no, no. So you have a thin. So I'm looking at the first sword, and you see how one slat
Yeah.
is thin, the one's wider. Maybe make the thinner ones a little darker just to give it some depth to it.
Okay. Let's try that. Let's try this one. Actually, that makes it the exact same color. So what color are you going to want the sky?
Well, the sky. So I would think the sky that they're going to would be much more of a lighter color. Something that is, and then so you're kind of going from again from kind of like a dark to light. So like the Six of Swords from the Artist Decoded, how it kind of goes from the dark into the light. Do
Yeah.
something like that. and maybe make the sky maybe like a deep blue, and then where it's darker, where like from the area that they're coming from, maybe make it like a Payne's gray or like a darker gray blue, and then as you move forward, lighten it up. Maybe little touches of maybe like yellow to represent sunlight.
Okay, so how about for the sky over here? You mean like the top of the sky and then the bottom of the sky,
Well,
or you
well,
looking
as
at?
you're moving forward, you're going to be leaving, the past behind. So
Oh,
maybe where his staff is to behind, maybe the colors are more darker and muted, and then as you go gradually across, they get lighter. So a
like
deep
this?
blue in the sky, yeah, and then the water be kind of reflecting of that as well.
Okay,
So as they're going across, the water will be lighter going forward, whereas in the behind him it'll be darker. Am I
okay.
am I doing this right, Bill?
No, it is. You're fine. You're just talking to a typical male that doesn't know what Payne's gray is and this and that. That granted, I am an
Sorry,
artist, but
I'm
it's like
sorry.
I'm still that kind of that dumb male type of guy
Stop putting
that
yourself. So
well,
pain.
when I mean dumb male, I'm not talking about intelligence. I'm talking about color intelligence. There's
So
a color vocabulary, and then there's some men that are just because you're of how you're raised or whatever that
okay. So a
never
Payne's
learn.
gray would be like a dark blue, like an indigo color, but with a touch of black to it. So it's like a dark blue gray. So that would be
Okay,
what a Payne's gray is. And
okay.
then
So
we were joined by Tapestry of the Unseen. Hello, hello, welcome. And Chris Topaz is here. And
yeah.
some Lila? Who's Lila? Oh, that must be Tapestry of the Unseen. Is that Lila? Bill is thinking I didn't sign up for this much work.
Well, I'm getting an education here, but I've been in order to ease the pain of recent events. I watch a lot of comedy, and so putting the comedy on, so that the comedy series of Coach, I've been watching all of the episodes with my mother, and but just the other day he kind of went over at one of these things where he was like, "Well, how is I supposed to know what the difference between well, bringing color swatches out in between oatmeal and it was like some other tan color, and I can't. They look the same to me,
Yeah.
and so it's not saying that I was like I'm not an athletic person. I never was, but there was that element of not really because in my early life I was a math science person,
Mm,
and
yeah.
so there was and because I had distinctly remember a time in my life where my brain switched. There was a point in time where I was really analytical and I couldn't understand art at all. And then like that, when I was like at 40 years old, something switched. And then I got ability to understand things a little bit differently. And so my I it took, I guess it was just the years of doing poetry and things like that where I was able to manifest a new brain. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. But in that whole process, the whole color intelligence just is still and kind of still color dumb.
Gotcha.
Blue is, but that's I'm just like, but then anyway, that's all I'm gonna say about that. And so I we're kind of going into the sky here, and so we'll try to make it darker here. Maybe I'll add actually some
A little
really
bit lighter where you are now.
okay. And then
Because you have that pretty Prismacolor in there too in your hand behind backstage. That's always a nice color to lighten up blues and greens and purples are with. So a little art tip is that if anyone wants to lighten a color or darken a color, you know how typically the first instinct is to add white to a color to lighten it and then add black to darken it. Well, you can lighten other colors without having to use white. White's okay, but a lot too much white can kind of wash out a color. So if you have a color like a blue or a green and you want to lighten it a little bit, you could always use like a light green to lighten a blue. You can use a light blue to lighten up a green. Even light blues and greens can lighten up purples. And if you want to darken something, you can get if you want like a darken a red instead of adding black, you can always add a dark purple and add to that to give it well. Those are called values, but you can
yeah.
darken colors different ways without using black and making it get too muddy as well.
Well, when you're dealing like with color pencils, which I'm still kind of new to,
Mhm. Well, it's harder
and
to blend with colored pencils. It takes a lot of skill.
so if you use the white pencil, or it really, it to me, it makes it kind of the whole thing kind of chalky, or it has a
Yeah,
really a
that's why you
bad
use
texture to it, which
color
I
like
really don't like.
color.
It's like
Yeah.
maybe the first thing you should do when you get a color pencil set is to take the white pencil and just chuck it out the door. And
Have you,
you
have
know,
you watched any YouTube videos of color pencil artists and how they do the swatches and the blending on their channels?
a little bit. I kind of got sucked into some of that in when I was like looking up how do I use my wax pastels, and I still haven't
Mm.
quite figured out how to use, because I picked up because I'm heavily invested in the whole in acrylic paints, but
Mhm.
I have
Yeah.
recently branched out to watercolors, and then but while I was doing that, I was like, well, when I was looking for colored pencils, I wanted to make sure they were water soluble, so I had dual purposes.
And
And
And also, really quick, Bill, Tapestry of the Unseen. I think that's Lila. She great reminder. So if you want to like dissolve colored pencils and to blend them, another good thing use there's something called Gamsol, Gamsol. It's a it's a solvent that can be used to dissolve and blend color pencil. It can also be used, I think, for the wax pastel as well. But that was a great tip, Tapestry. I
oh,
forgot in that, but salt there's are certain solvents and Gamsol doesn't have like a really strong smell like a turpentine or a mineral spirit. So Gamsol, but you have to use it very lightly because again it's all about practice. Learning how much a little bit at a time. But that was a great tip there.
okay.
Ta-
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually come in with a literal gray, and I'm going to come in on the behind side, and then we can layer in some other colors right on top of that.
like a nice dark blue or even a dark purple would be nice. And Tom says watercolor pencils are fun. They can be, especially if you have a good brand. Now, I have a small set by Albrecht Dürer. It's by Faber Castell. They're called Albrecht Dürers, and they're like $5 a pencil. However, they dissolve beautifully in water. So if you can
Mm.
really get a hand on what I do, I don't have it with me, but I have a water brush that I've been using too for my oracles and my cards that I am. Oops, I got to plug my phone in. It's got to die here on me. So give me just a second here. And so what I do is if I get watercolor pencils, if I have a hard time, oops, shoot. Hold on a second. Everybody avert your gaze because I don't think I can hide my screen. So I'll just keep talking. So if you get watercolor pencils and you lay down the pencil, then you try to add water over and you find that it doesn't dissolve very well. Most of them don't. What you can do, which is fun, is you can sharpen the pencils and then take there we go, perfect. You can take a watercolor brush, such as, and let's say I don't have a watercolor pencil here, but let's say this one is, you would, sharpen it to a point, and then you could just get a little bit of water, and you can just go like this, and then you can apply it to the watercolor paper to the surface. So that's another tip,
Oh, okay.
tip and trick. So
Yeah, I have one of those brushes. I don't like the plastic bristles on that on it, and so
For
I
me,
do.
for me, it's sometimes hard to control the water that comes out, but the nice little nylon ones, they work pretty good. But they do eventually fray. They wear down. Um, and let's see, Miss Moonlight is here. Hello, Miss Moonlight.
Welcome.
Um, Faber Castell is right up, and camel hair or horsehair brushes. Yep.
Yeah.
I like to use a lot of the synthetic ones because a lot of times high end squirrel brushes and stuff is, they kill the animal for it. So I try not to use too many, brushes that, are going to kind of, hurt the animal. I do my best. So I try to find like the Taklon or the synthetic bristles or the nylon bristles when it comes to brushes. So they do drip, Elizabeth. So there's certain brands now. Pentel, they are pretty good. Um, However, you do have to make sure that if you are using a water brush, make sure that the surface you're working on is designed for a lot of water, because some of the oracle cards, like this one here that I've been working on, I will use the watercolor brush to kind of lay down the colors really quick as a like a wash, a background, because of the amount of water that comes out in the type of cardstock. But afterwards, I have to go to like a regular brush, a short little bristle brush, such as that, um, because of the water. So if you're working on paper, though, that's, a good watercolor paper, that way that extra water does help, because then you're able to blend and layer, and it dries a little bit quicker, and you can build glazes, and just building the surface, which is really nice as well. And Tom is an art. Bill, did you know that Tom is an artist
Yeah, I
also?
did.
Billy Ritual.
He's I've been nagging him to come on the show too. Um,
There you go.
he's gonna come on eventually, but just not quite yet. And so
He's
I'm
an
gonna go
amazing
and look for
sculptor. I've
another.
seen some of his pieces. Wow.
I think I'll
Boy,
take.
he's talented.
I think I'll take some of these
So
and
what colors are you grabbing out? Oh, there we go. We're getting some stormy sky in there. Nice.
purple colors, and I'm gonna be. This is. It says hose and fuchsia.
Ooh. See, for me, I would just have at it and just start throwing colors left and right. When I was in college, I was called a fauvis, because which is French for wild beasts. Because back in
Wild
the
geese.
day, Matisse, Andre Duran, a lot of those artists were doing trees in like reds and purples and things. I mean, they were using colors that were not local colors.
Yeah.
Local colors being, well, trees are basically kind of like a brown, and leaves are green, and so that would be considered a local color. But the
Hmm.
Fauves, and like in Monet too, later on with the Impressionism, and of course with Van Gogh, but the Fauves really got the ball rolling, where they would, put yellows and reds in the water, and the trees would be red and purples, and the sky. I mean, I absolutely loved those color palettes.
I I did that kind of stuff like that when I first started painting, and so I painted an image for a coworker, and I was doing that kind of stuff, and then they got kind of freaked out by it, and they turned and I almost got fired for this thing. I almost got
Oh my
fired from the
goodness.
job, and then they pulled me into the back room, and they were like kind of talking about this. And I says, "What does this mean?" I says, "That's red." "What does this mean?" And I said, That's blue." "What does this mean?" And I kept on
What
going
do
like
the
this,
colors mean to
and then he
you?
said, "Did you purposely make the the feeling of this paper to feel like human skin, and I says, I don't know what human skin feels like. This is a 140-pound watercolor paper with a and I said this and a Liquitex varnish on it, and that's what it is.
That's
And
right.
I had and then it was just like this was just so bizarre. But
Hmm.
then I guess I think what it was is that the individual I don't really know. I don't know it all, and I don't I because I
Well,
never
we're
really.
always learning. If we everyone claims that they know everything, then they're full of you know what.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Well, because
that's
I
why I
I
love
just
all the videos for
I was
YouTube.
always
You learn different ways of people creating and working, and it's inspiring.
yeah. Well, I know that I kind of like how this background is against the even
Hmm.
though the god I wasn't able to to the push rod not but it kind of stands out from the background here, almost like a
Hmm.
3D effect right now. And so I think we wanted some yellows in there.
Well, something well in the sky, maybe just a little bit like representing like the sun, something very pale, something that and if you put it down on the blue, it might turn it a little green, yes, but that's the fun of it. When you create those colors and they start kind of mixing in together, and just before they get muddy and they have that beautiful synergy, next to
Okay.
them, that beautiful, colorful what's the word I'm looking for? It's that beautiful expressive color interplay, with them.
Or
Um,
there might be
and we
some.
have Alexis here with us, Sexy Lexi. So she has joined us.
Welcome.
And Miss Moonlight said, I learned on YouTube you can make snow in watercolor with salt. Yes. You
Oh,
just,
you use salt?
Yep, you
How,
sprinkled the
how do
salt,
you
and with the what you do is, I think, if I remember correctly, you lay down the watercolor, then you sprinkle a little bit of salt, and then where the salt absorbs the watercolor, and when it dries and you brush it off, it leaves the crystalline shape of white in the color from where the watercolor was. So yeah, there's a
oh,
lot of cool tips and tricks out there on YouTube.
yeah.
Um,
Okay. So
Oh,
I
everyone's having a wonderful conversation, Bill, about art. This is awesome.
they
I
are
love this.
they are, and I've mentioned this a few times that when I'm doing a solo live, I can track the chat, but when I'm doing this with a guest, I can't multitask that well enough. I can sometimes see the chat and
And if I talk too much, just let me know.
oh no, it's this
Because
is
you
all
know me, I'm a chatter.
yeah, that's great. That's good.
Especially when it comes to art. That's my
Mhm.
passion, really.
So
I've
I've
been
been
trying to
doing a
figure
little
out
bit
what's more my passion, my tarot or my art. And it's just like, first and foremost, I am an artist. The tarot and the oracle and all that comes second. But I love them both, but for me, that's and I actually had someone do my Akashic Records a few years back. Scott, he's a Scott Spiritual Essence,
yeah.
and he feels one of my past lives was I was a female artist who was heavily influenced by Da Vinci in a past life,
Oh.
which I find interesting, even though the way I do my art is anything but, that type of Renaissance quality.
Mhm.
I'm more like the Van Gogh, the Monet, the Fauves, that kind of time period. But and Kandinsky. Oh, Bill, have you ever heard of Kandinsky? Talking about music and art.
You know, I took the liberty of reading your mind here, and I'm taking some pink colors and making the trees in the background pink
Oh, I'm
because
sorry. Yeah, good.
you talked about these colorists and whatnot, and using I can't remember the word, but using non-local colors for the
Mm-hmm.
patient. And so I thought, oh, I bet while Heather was thinking there that the trees needed to be a kind of a pinky color, we're making them sort of a pinky color.
Yep, and if I was doing a painting, I would probably, do some brown and purple with the paint with the limbs.
Yeah,
But go for it, Bill. I'm always excited to see what you know, other artists how they relate to color and how they put the color down.
yeah.
Um Somebody was just sharing something. Oh, Miss Moonlight said when it comes to her artwork, she says I get compared to Edward Hopper a lot.
Oh,
Very interesting. And for people, Kandinsky, he, his early roots, he was a Russian artist, and his initial roots were, like a landscape, but then he kept pushing it. How can I use, um, less realism? How can I express something with simple, minimalist forms and color to evoke a love and a passion, because he always loved his motherland. He had to leave permanently at one point, and then as he got older, the forms just became shapes, circles, lines, zigzags, and he loved music. And so for him, I think in one of the videos I watched, a cello would be considered like a dark blue, whereas a trumpet would be like a bright yellow to him. And so I can't think of the name. Tom, I know you probably know the word of it, but when somebody hears music, I'm like this sometimes. When you hear music, you see colors. I can't think of the word right now for that. But that was something with him, and he used to do these massive compositions where he would just put down color and black lines and zigzags and things as he was listening to music.
hmm.
Later on, he got a little bit more geometric. That middle period of his life was just incredible. Okay, here we go. Synesthesia. Thank you, Tom.
Anesthesia.
So,
Uh,
mhm.
I want to interject for just a second, because Sam over there in Spain, I'm going to speak directly to you, Sam. Did you want to come on this program? Because I know that you're also an artist too, and you know
Oh,
a little bit about tarot.
Sam.
In this sense,
Ooh.
you don't really have to know about the tarot, but I can. If you want to come on, you can come on. I'll let you know in advance, like maybe a month in advance, and then of what that card would be, and
Oh,
then you can research it
he
and
said I would love to.
yeah, okay, all right. So you can have my you can send me an email and to my show, and let's see. I will just gonna write that down here, and then but it is on my channel header page.
Sam, what kind of work do you do? What type of genre? What
Oh,
style of art in your medium?
put Sam's name down there. It's the 999 show at Gmail, because I know that when that with the way
art.
the way these it is on the mobile apps these days, you can't push on you can't like highlight it with your finger and copy it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
The safety features, so you can't do that. So you can that's my and that's right. That is on my channel header page underneath the description, and it's actually in the description even, and so it's there. So you can. That's my show email, and so if you want to come on the show, and do this, you're all welcome to do that. Okay.
I got to do another art show on my channel when I have the extra time. I used to do live paintings with Jonathan Daly in Hawaii. I miss that, but I want to bring more art again to the channel. And Bill, I got an idea for the ground underneath the trees, seeing that you made them this pink color.
Yeah.
Pink is a shade of, or a tint of, or analogous color of red, and so the complementary would be like a green. So maybe a like an emerald green or something underneath those pink trees would really make those trees pop.
Okay. I'm gonna pass those color pencils right by you here.
Well, it's kind of hard for me to see because it's small and of the light.
Oh, okay.
Um, but something that's like an emerald, not too dark, not too light, but has a beautiful emerald, like
Okay, I'm
I
gonna
want to
take
say bluish green.
three of these colors here.
Oh, is Taro your way here? Is
He was my second guest.
there you are. He's here. How are you? How are you? There, la, la, la. I can't talk. I've had too much coffee, too much caffeine. How are you doing, Thomas?
Emerald. Emerald.
Like an emerald, and that would stand out, from the yellow of the swords too. Especially like a median green, because then that median green will act as a it'll make it'll give it space. It'll be able to push those swords in the foreground and help push the landscape into the background along with the trees. So that would be a great match. Nice green, mid green. Um, yeah, that could probably work.
So this is forest green. That's what it says anyway. Okay, I got four different greens here.
Um, let's see. What is the green that is the so I'm looking to the middle two, okay? The one on the left.
All right, so I am going
Because the
to.
light does affect, the camera light does affect. So we're going to do swatches. Okay.
This is kind of a yellow green here. That's a different color, and then we mix them together.
I like the one, yeah, because you want enough. You don't want too much yellow in the green to set, and they'll clash. It'll flatten the space with the yellow in the sword hilt. So
Yeah.
something that is maybe just a little bit darker, just a
Oh,
little bit, just a
how about
tad.
we have some little bit darker here, but why don't we start with these colors and then I'll put the darker color in on the
Yeah,
top
you
of it.
can always layer like you did the sky. Perfect.
Yeah. All right. So, what led you to the tarot?
Oh boy. Um, so interestingly enough, I was in high school. This was junior year, and my English teacher let us know that a local poet was at the high school. I went to Lafayette High School, and was wondering if any of the students would like to come see her for the class period and do poetry with her. And me and another classmate, his name was John, the first boy I ever really fell in love with.
Mhm.
But we were just classmates, and that was it. But we both said, "Hey, we want to go." So I thought, "Oh, here's a guy. He writes poetry. Cool." So we go to the poetry workshop, and she pulls out a deck of cards, and she goes, "Have you ever heard of tarot cards?" And I was like,
Mhm.
I have. Up to that point I had, because a friend of my mom's, she would read cards, but she would use playing cards. She didn't use tarot cards. And
Yeah.
so the deck that she had for us was the Thoth deck, or the Thoth
Mm.
deck, how you want to pronounce it. And John and I were like, "Oh, that's really cool." So I remember just kind of being enthralled just because of the colors. I just absolutely loved all the different colors on the cards. I mean, it was art, and at that point, I was in high. That was my focus from there on in, was art, and so I was fascinated with the colors. And she told us to pick one card and then write a poem about it. And not knowing anything about the cards, I just fell in love with the High Priestess card. And
Uh,
so I chose that, and he chose a card, and we wrote some poems, that day from them. So that was my first real introduction, and I just found it interesting. So it's kind of like planting the seed, and So as I got older and got into college and starts seeing what the world was really about, got into spirituality. My mom was okay with the tarot, and I got a deck, and initially it was the Toff deck, just like from high school. But then, of course, and Tom, don't yell at me because I know we've had this conversation. It's gotten better, but I heard the rumors, about Crowley, and I just didn't want to use a deck that might have had that energy from this kind of individual. I've learned better, I've learned, since then, but I gave up that deck and just got something called the Secret Circle Tarot, which was based on the Celtic pagan wheel of the year. And would just read for people like my mom, my friends, for myself. But it wasn't, and then at that point, this is when tarot was still relatively well, you know, metaphysical stuff was starting to be seen more, a little bit more in the stores. You had to go all the way in the back of the store for it, whereas
Hmm.
now our Barnes and Noble has all the metaphysical tarot and everything up front. But back in the day, you had to go all the way in the back, and there were only a couple of books on tarot, and that said you have to read, you have to learn upright, you have to learn reverse, you have to learn the positive, you had to learn negative, and then you had to learn neutral. And I was just like, no, 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 no. I can't do all this. And after a while, I just didn't really like, having to have a book because I had to read the book because I can't retain that much information. And
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
I do miss Moonlight.
Mhm.
Um, so it wasn't until, you know, shut down and I was starting to watch YouTube, and um political tarot started popping up, and then I started seeing that there were other decks like oracle decks and Lenormand, and people saying, well, you don't have to read strictly, this is how I read. And that got my interest back, and then being an artist and seeing the different artwork, and that's how I got back into it. So
Mhm.
2020, during shutdown is when,
Yeah, yeah.
you know I started getting back into that. Mm-hmm.
So I started doing the water, like some of the similar colors that there were in the sky.
Mm-hmm.
And,
How about some, are you going to put any like dark blues in there?
I am. I'm just putting an initial coat, but I need to contrast the
Because what I think would be cool is if with the dark blues in areas to complement, like the pink trees, maybe have
Mhm.
a deep magenta for the darker parts of the water. I think that would be cool.
Magenta, and that's kind of a purpley color, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And Selena, I don't I don't associate with love with I'm just gonna be perfectly honest here. I was raised Catholic, um and anything that has to do um with Satanism or the house of Satan or the worship of, for me, that is something that I've never personally been comfortable with. And so, having learned a bit about Crowley, it's the process of, trying to disassociate um, that individual from the entirety of what the deck. I mean, for me, Lady Frida Harris, I love that Pamela was the one that kind of helped get things really going. But when it comes to terms of technique and actual talent, not saying Pamela wasn't talent, so people don't get angry at me, but I just feel like Lady Harris had much more of a stronger foundation in composition, in colorization and understanding palettes, um, than Pamela did. There's room for both ladies, but I just felt that Lady Frida was the stronger artist. For me, Pamela's colors were a bit too garish for me. And that's why when I went and tried finding like a traditional, I got the Radiant because the colors were, more blended, more it just like there was more consideration in shape and form and palette, than Pamela's original. So you totally get, you were raised Catholic too. So, but yeah,
Well,
for me, I just, we all have our separate paths, but for me, I just mm-mm. I've had people and it's in, I've had people in my life um that worked with the lower energies, the darker energies, that, didn't hurt me, but yet I had people who are Christian that did energetically hurt me. And then, but it's just, you just, it's whatever pat, whoops, there goes my phone. I shouldn't have played with that. So it's really what, ever resonates, and, I mean, I was introduced to, goddess worship, and paganism really by or encouraged by a Catholic nun in college. She taught a
mhm.
women in religion class. She had a doctorate. She wrote the book. She did the research herself and showed us all the dark aspects of every patriarchal religion, including Catholicism, and how they took mostly from the pagan people for their holidays. And she was an amazing woman, so um, we're all, here to experience things differently. And so and really, Miss Moonlight, interestingly, I think Pamela was the stronger artist, and it comes to, taste as well. Maybe I would have liked her art more if
Mhm.
maybe her the way she painted or the way, she used the colors. um but that's why I love this book that Bill has, because that gives the person the opportunity to explore their intuition
Yeah,
with the cards. Exactly.
but there's a lot of what I don't like about this book is this right here, and there are a lot of the cards that have too much black in it, and so they didn't give you like, let's say we look at um the High Priestess, and you can't they were, to me, I seemed like they were really lazy, and they just took a photocopied image or a scanned image of the card and blew it up,
Hmm.
and then did not do, let's say, do the work of actually going in and doing maybe tracings and
Yeah.
doing, and so that you don't get the option to. And so I actually, as a consequence, I didn't choose this one as an option for us to do, but I did do a tracing of it and roots and waves uh, on her
And
second time here.
yeah.
We painted it, and so when I come down to doing the Empress card, it's going to be the same. I will do a tracing of it, and then all of this stuff on here, which makes this whole image muddy. I'm just going to pull it all off, and there'll be a
Mm.
of the Empress, and then
Is it the ink that's coming off within the color pencils that's making it muddy for you?
no, what this is not even done. It's just it's the
That's why I'm asking.
so I think the image is muddy because of the toner that they use,
Yes.
and then it's just too much line work, and so this is less.
Hmm.
um, I think with this one too, I'm probably going to do tracings of it, and then
Or get it,
um
or sharpen your pencils to a very fine tip and just go within those lines and play with and play off the black of the lines and make the colors pop that way with it. Just a suggestion what I would maybe think of doing.
yeah. But anyway, so what it means, some of these cards I am not going to use the image that's in the book, and some of them I will be going back in and tracing them and then transferring the image onto another piece of paper.
Hmm.
Okay, so I've been adding the magenta into this, and so what do you think? Do I need to be darker down here? And
I can't
um
see because chat's over it.
oh,
Gotta raise it up a little higher. No, upwards.
What do you mean?
Upwards.
Like this?
Well, raise the book. No, you're bringing me. Well, okay. Well, I was gonna say the bottom part, but that one there, I would go darker if you have a darker blue to go over that magenta to give it a more of a deeper value to it, just a little
Okay.
bit.
All right. A darker blue.
I'm sorry, Bill, but I got my phone and it's so hard for me to see.
All right. All right.
I was doing my best.
So I'm going to layer some of that in. So you got into so you were raised Catholic. I've kind of was, that's one of the things I've seen is that there's more, I don't know if it's true all the way around, but it seems to be that more Catholics have a tendency to come to tarot than maybe Protestants do.
Hmm. I would not know. I would not know what the underlying factors. I think because the tarot, well, actually, because the tarot was created, it was we all know that it was the tarocchi, in Italy. And when they make you say, well, the popes and all of them were against it, well, a lot of those popes and people would use the psychics back then and the cards to help
Mhm.
predict their moves, their strategies to gain power and who to take out and all that kind of stuff. So,
Yeah.
um, it coming out around that time, it was going to be influenced by pretty much the Catholic Church, the Vatican. So is very could possibly be why, because they see things in the cards that they were raised with. The
Mhm.
devil, the Hierophant, um, you know, um, things like this, judgment. The raising of the Judgment Day, um, the Temperance card being represented by an angel.
Yeah.
So a lot of those images, I think possibly Catholics, at least me, could something easily recognize. And again, was a part of the original Tarocchi. Wait a
Yeah.
minute. Uh-oh. Did I get? Wait a minute. I looked
Well,
down and I saw Tom say not to be mean, and I'm like, what did I do? Oh, they're talking about artists. Now that's interesting. So yeah.
because if you look at like how icon art being part of both the Catholic and the Orthodox tradition, and
Mm-hmm.
so people were already primed for learning off of
Yeah.
images, whereas
The hanged man, like the crucifixion. Yeah.
yeah, or whereas if you take a look at the Protestants, they came into being at the dawn of the printing press, and
Mm-hmm.
therefore um, where they're more likely to look at a image like this and say this is idolatry.
Mm-hmm.
And so the likelihood of them and so the pathway to tarot for a a Protestant Christian, you may have to go through completely deconstructing your faith and your
Yeah.
ability to integrate um, the tarot into your faith is maybe nearly impossible, especially when your approach to Christianity is completely Pauline.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
I mean, there
so,
was there was a point of time when the Catholic Church didn't allow statues or anything either. It was considered idolic, and then eventually, that changed over. So, but yeah, a lot of the Orthodox just beautiful. And for me, I don't go to church to go mass or anything anymore. But the stained glass, oh my God, the gorgeous stained glass, and I mean the sculpting, the architecture. We don't see that anymore. Everything is just so, slapped together, IKEA, and whatnot. Not that anything wrong with, but back then everything was all handcrafted. You could tell their faith went into it, their dedication went into it. For me, stained glass. I still love to go into churches every now and then when it's quiet and just look at the stained glass and the light and the color coming through.
yeah,
Um, and Miss Moonlight said, I think of it as illustration, composition, and color theory. Oh, they're talking about somebody called Wrangel. I also consider atmospheric perspective and proportion. Or range. Oh, I see range. Okay, I got you now. So I guess there was a conversation about the centennial version of the tarot and the printing process. Yes. Okay.
Mhm.
So Sam says, I am loving the colors of the card.
Yeah.
Very cool. Is there any way to maybe make the green just a
Greener.
um little bit more greener for behind these swords, because that bright yellow green is kind of like the same value as the yellow on the hilt of the swords. This is just how they're being anal, but you know.
No, no, that's okay. That's okay. I'm coming back in down to the bottom of this here, and I'm working on the bottom of the boat, which I seem to have
Okay.
forgotten because I thought that was part of the water, and
Yeah, I
I'm
can't see
adding
that
some.
part because of the book being down too low in the chat, but
Okay,
there we
I
are.
push it up a bit here, and yeah,
Now for the cloak with the woman, I'm feeling, because of it being a woman, I'm feeling like earthy colors. I know women are considered, watery intuition, which is usually represented by blue, but women are also very earthy. So maybe browns and greens for the uh, the woman.
okay.
And we have somebody. So I'm going to do my best to say hello. I probably will not pronounce your name correctly, but we have Ramakrishna Badakankar. So welcome, Badang. Oh no, Badankar. There we go. Michelle says, "How about we mix blue into the green, or we can mix the blue? Yes, we can mix some blue into the green as well."
Okay, let's come up to a. Let's just start here. This is a darker blue, and I'm putting it in here lightly, and it is darkening up that those colors just a tad
See,
bit.
I can already see that the swords are separating now, coming more to the forefront.
Yeah.
There we go.
All right. So, and here we go over here, just a little bit there. Has
And we
some.
and it's
Okay.
a group effort today too. And Michelle says something about brown at the base. I don't know what you mean by base,
I think
Michelle.
it's something about right down here.
Okay, so I
A
can't
little bit
quite
more,
see.
a
Okay.
little bit more browns, and then you wanted the her robe, and then the child. What color do you want the child to be?
Um, Good question. Um, when you think of a child, what color? Um,
This tarot is
Innocence, playfulness.
bluey.
Um,
Maybe the child needs to be like a yellow color.
um,
Is that your cat?
yeah. Oh, yeah. What, you want to come up? All right. I'm surprised it took him this long. So come on,
Mhm.
come here. Oop, excuse me. That was Heather. So I know y'all probably heard that. So excuse me, but he weighs a lot. Trying to pick him up.
Ah,
Yes. So Tom goes meow. Oh, let's see. The woman.
so you said kind of a browny earth tones, and let me just go in to my now. I
Hmm.
if I go into my metallics. I have a bronze color, and that would
Ooh.
distinguish. If we go into my metallics, we can completely distinguish these people from everything else. And I can go look into, and I'll just pull all of those pencils out. And
I'm looking at the child on my card, and I'm thinking, in this deck they made him purple to be a compliment against the woman's, orangey yellow cloak. So um,
Okay.
maybe
I
for the boy, that bronze orange color would be nice, I think, for that next to the mother.
I have a metallic pink and a metallic purple. And then if we go with for the woman, a an antique gold, a red, and a copper.
So you want to use all those colors?
I think we should use the metallics on the people's clothing, and
Okay,
then completely distinguish them from the rest of the environment. It'll have
there we
just a
go
different.
then. Sounds good to me.
So, would you like to? We start with the little boy, and then maybe I'll make his hair like this um antique gold, and then kind of a makes it kind of a little brownish color, and then
Okay.
come in and do this combination of this pink and this the purple and the pink for the clothing.
And then the colors that we'll be using for the boy and the woman, we can reflect into the guy, um, the male figure, and
Yeah,
so that they're all connected together, the three of
yeah,
them.
exactly.
Sounds like a plan to me.
Yeah. Well, this has been great. I'm really glad I had you on here.
Aw, thanks, Bill. I'm glad you invited me.
Yeah, and so now did you mentioned that you were making your own Oracle deck. Would you like to show
Sure.
that off now while I'm just
Yeah.
doing this?
Uh,
Okay.
um. So let's see. I have them set aside, but I've got a few that I've been working on recently that I can share. I keep the others put aside so that I don't accidentally spill anything on them. But yeah, Tom has been trying to help me. Tom and Ange one day backstage were giving me ideas on what to call them. We're thinking maybe, intuitive ultra cards. I was thinking about maybe Oracle because originally the concept, Bill, was that I was whoever wanted a traditional hand painted, their own personal hand painted deck, which would be, of course, theirs one of a kind, was the idea. But then Heather really wasn't thinking about becoming so um, bonded with the art and the cards itself. And not to mention that, I really wouldn't be able to charge what they were be worth. And so, what I think I'm going to do is I'll keep working on these, and then once we get settled into to Oregon, I'll have someone scan them and start seeing if I could just print certain ones on demand, and people can let me know what images they want, and we can kind of build, their own deck. So I started out with some small ones that I had some blank playing cards. I have a few of those here, so I'll just show some as, and they are abstract, but there are times when you can see things in them. Like when I was painting, I would see images and faces. Everybody sees different things, when they look at them. So I'll just share some of the small ones that I have done recently. So this is the smaller size. Um, and do a few of those. Let's see, let's share that one. Trying to give different ideas of color palettes that I'm using. And it's whatever I'm drawn to now. Like with this one here, I see the profile of a face, something like a mask in her hand. Um, and I have had people tell me they have seen animals. There's another figure in here. She's like leaning back to me. There's her hair. So it's really what people see and how they resonate with them. Here's one with some more earthy colors that I have done.
Wow, those are
Um,
incredible.
Thank you. And there's this one here. So these are the small ones. I have a few tall ones here. I have painted on both black and white um blank tarot size cards. I don't see one of the white ones here, although I was just working on one recently. Oh well. So here's a couple of the taller ones. Like regular no, these are like tarot sized ones. I got
Yeah.
these from Amazon. I'm just painted on them. You can get them in black and you can get them in white. So that one there. And like with here, you can automatically see if to me I see a fairy. So I have in this one here I just recently did with that color palette. And then I started playing around on the round ones. So let me just get these set aside here because I do have coffee and some drinks around me and I don't want to take a chance of spilling anything on those. And for some of my round ones that I have here, some recent ones kind of inspired by, Valentine's Day with some of the colors. So there's that one. And then there's, this one and that one. I have some others, but they're safely packed away. But I just thought I would share some of those. So
Well,
yeah. And at one point, I'll be able to, when we get settled in Oregon, I'll be able to have them professionally scanned. Um, or Tom has offered me in the past to ship them to him, and he would scan them for me. But either way I do it, they're going to get scanned at some point, and then I'll figure out cost and how many cards and things like that. I mean, if someone actually truly wanted a hand painted deck, I would probably say the most would be at least 12 cards, and I was thinking about maybe six on the white, representing maybe half of the year, and the other on the
mm,
black paper representing the dark half of the year. And each card could be chosen to, or it can be chosen to be once a month, having one card and then reflecting on that card during the month. So um, it's still all kind of like in progress, but I'm very excited and I've been just so very appreciative of all the support that
mm.
people have been showing to
So
those.
being a card that you are reflecting upon, then that almost kind of reminds me of more like for the little bit I've read about weight and his relationship with the tarot was more of something that you reflected upon versus something that you used to get something from.
Gotcha. So it's kind of like a scrying in a way. Like I have other um cards that I have tried in the past. I have tried, but pulled during a live show, and I'm like, well, okay, this is what's jumping out at me at this card, so maybe this can relate. So, um, they can be used for both because we all see things so differently,
Mhm.
and things that I see in the card. I've had Nancy, I don't know if Nancy's still in chat, but go, don't you see the dragon or don't you see this in this? And I'm like, no, she goes, but I can see it.
Yeah.
So it gets just really I just love it though because that's
Mhm.
what the cards are meant to be. We all see things differently and how we perceive them and what they speak to us. So I thoroughly enjoy it. And Ange and Karen have been like, oh, I see a bird, or oh my god, I see totally see this. And then there are a couple that I've
Mm.
shared with Tom, and he's like, well, oh, I like those. Those are earthy colors. This, oh, that's what I saw. So I just love, I get the biggest kick out of it because it feels like I'm bringing together two things that I enjoy. And when I see people enjoying them, that makes me feel good too.
Yeah.
And Anna has joined us. Hello, Anna. Um, so yeah, thank you for letting me share my
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
of my
Those are
cards
cool.
with me.
So we got your cards now. And then you also you write poetry.
Yes, I do.
Would you like to, share a poem here then too with us
Oh my goodness. I
while I'm reading your mind and I'm painting working on the big guy here, and
um oh, I just cleared everything off. Where did I put my um that's funny. I just had it. Oh, I know where it is. So, excuse me folks as I get up for a second.
Mhm.
Um Here we go. Let's see. Nope. Here we go. So again, I apologize for the echo, but we're moving things out of the room. I'm giving things away. So little by
Sound,
little. Um,
sounded perfectly fine.
all
Yeah.
right. So okay. Well, like the other day, I'm just going to open up to any page here and see what I have and what my eyes fall on. And alrighty, so I wrote some. Are these tankas? So I wrote some tankas back during the summer, and tankas are like an extension of haiku. And so there's a couple extra lines, and I believe they are both seven and encouraging. So yes, so I have three little haiku tankas that I can share. Um, let's see. Shell of the night sky cracks open, soft spoken and white. The yolk of the sun emerges, rising light,
Mm.
shining bright, encouraging crops to grow. So that was the tanka.
Mm.
The next one is Chambers of the Heart, Adagio breath moving, gloaming oasis, echoes of memories stir, your presence is deeply felt. So that was another tanka. And my third here in front of me is Our Rosetta Stone, azure rivers pulse skin deep, exposing secrets, scarlet red under the pink, ancestral helix twisting. And that's interesting. The azure rivers, you're painting, you're coloring the six of swords. We're going over a river there. It's got blue in it, and
Yeah.
scarlet red. The boat is red. So that's really interesting how that that one worked out. So um
Yeah. Those are pretty. Who's your favorite poet, and who's the was the most influential poet
uh,
in your work?
well, for me, I really wasn't into poets. However, I did grow up with one poet, one poem. For me, it was mostly about music and lyrics and songwriters. I love musicians, songwriters who write these incredible songs, like Tori Amos, Ani DeFranco, um, Martin Gore, from Depeche Mode, um, Kurt Smith, even some of the the works from the Smiths in the '80s. Um, what's this other band that? Um, oh, why can't I think of? See, sometimes when I want to think of something, my brain completely. I'll think of her in a second, but I just love bands and songs that have these incredible lines that get me inspired to write. But
Mm.
for me, my favorite poem of all time was from The Outsiders. I learned of this poem. The Outsiders was written by S.E. Hinton, and the poem's called uh, geez, I can't even think of it because I'm nervous. Um, Yeah, it was by Robert Frost. Nothing Gold Can
Mhm.
Stay. Good Lord, Heather. So, Nothing Gold Can Stay. That's my favorite poem.
Mm.
Um, but again, I just love Amy Lee is an incredible songwriter. Florence and the Machine. There we go. Um, I mean, there have just been so many amazing songwriters. Avi Kaplan, he's incredible. I love it's sometimes it's just one song, sometimes um but yeah, it's just whatever, you know, inspires me. It's like with artwork. Sometimes, I'll see it like or an Oracle tarot deck. Um, I won't like pretty much the whole deck, but there's going to be one or two cards that I know are going to resonate with me. Just like with music, I may not like, you know, a whole band, but I may like a few of their songs. I grew up with Madonna. There's a lot of
Mhm.
writers that did some beautiful work with some of her music. Um, but yeah, um, Led Zeppelin. Oh my God, how can you not? Led Zeppelin. I mean, Stairway to Heaven. I actually chose that song to. This is something that's interesting. Um, so in college, I took this music and words class as one of my electives,
Mhm.
and we had to say whether or not the song was iambic or whatever, this and that. But the professor wanted us to write what we thought the song was about, um our impressions of it. So I remember writing what my impressions were, and I get my thing my back, and I'm looking at B minus. And even though I had a hard time kind of picking out the iambic pentameters and all that stuff, um, he made comment going, "Really, you think that's what that was about?" But I thought it was we were supposed to interpret it. You can't tell a student. I mean, it just yeah. But
Yeah.
it's like you asked me what I thought it meant, and this is the lines, and this is what I thought it meant, and this is what. But at least I was like, "Come on, dude, give me a B. Don't give me a B minus just because you didn't think I was." But anywho,
Mhm.
so yeah, it's just yeah, poetry, music, and art. They're interchangeable. They coexist within each other. I mean, you to really have one without the other. And I just wish my math and sciences were stronger, because people don't realize um, that they work together. There is art in science. There is art in music, in the sciences, and in math. And so that's why I wish schools would stop getting rid of music and art and things, because when kids can learn and understand music and tempo and rhythms and see the connections and correlations that exist in mathematical forms, and it's mind-blowing, how everything is really all interconnected. um,
Mhm. So what do you
but
think? I mean, I've tried working on my
I can't
mind
see the
reading.
boat though,
Okay, I've been
because of
working
the
on my
chat.
reading skills here, and I've come down at the bottom of the card,
Ooh,
and we have the folks there. I did take the liberty to make the skin tone of the
it's blue.
blue, just like a Hindu god,
Interesting.
which I've done multiple times in this.
So, do you
In
resonate with the Hindu pantheon? Which I think it's what Shiva is it? That's blue.
blue. I don't yes and no sometimes, but I'm one of the things I'm in thinking of this is doing is using these other colors to be more inclusive.
I have an idea. Is there any way that you can maybe add a little bit of a warm orangey kind of tone to his sleeves, because orange and blue are complements, and that would make both sections pop? Is there any way to
Orange
do
color,
that with the sleeves or with the tunic? Add a little bit like a warm orange or red to it?
like an orangey tone. Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, because you know how blue and orange are complements on the color wheel.
Yeah.
So that would make his skin pop out more. Yeah, perfect. I like that.
On the sleeves or on the skin?
I'll let you decide. But I was thinking more of the sleeves because,
Okay.
um,
Yeah.
but if you think it might muck up the brown too much and you would rather use it on the tunic, that's fine. I'll let you
Okay. Well, I started here. Um,
do what intuitively feels right to you.
well, it's what you said first was the
Every
sleeve.
Yeah, but if
And
you
so,
happen to go put something down, you're like, oh, I don't know. Well, then go with your gut.
so
But that orange will make that blue stand out more.
okay. That's on
And
the
let's see,
sleeve.
Anna just shared with us. Okay, there's a family that were in Kentucky. They had rare genetic traits caused them to be blue colored. Interesting. And hello, Mama Sushi. Oh, did
Mm.
Selena leave? Bye, Selena. Enjoy
Hi.
dinner. Oh, excuse me. Has anybody tried this poppy stuff? It really isn't that bad. And it's like less sugar. It's like only 3 grams of sugar compared to my favorite Coca Cola that's got what, 38 grams of sugar. So
Yeah.
this has been and it's cheaper. These are only $1 at Walmart. A bottle of soda
All right.
now is
I'm
like
gonna
three
bring this up.
dollars.
I'm going to bring this up a little closer, and you can take a look here. And we're at the 95-minute mark, and I'm getting the signals from the other room that I need to wrap this thing up. So,
All righty, looks good.
so we are really close to being. So, what do you think?
It looks good. I might go back in later and maybe make the sleeves a little bit more orange to make the blue pop, but otherwise looks good, Bill.
Okay, let me just go find it, get another color of orange, and I'll do that right now. And so, I'm gonna add. Okay, what what about YouTube do you like or dislike?
What about YouTube
Content
that
of
I
YouTube.
dislike? Well,
Yeah.
first of all, what I don't like about YouTube is how there to a certain degree there's too much censorship. Let's just put it that way. It just seems, and I don't usually talk about politics or anything, but in this instance it's like people want to talk about smaller, especially smaller channels. They want to talk about things that they see going on in the world, and they want to talk about how they feel about certain politicians or musicians or celebrity. I even like using the word celebrities, but just pointing things out. Health. I mean, look what happened during COVID when we had doctors trying to, and I'm not taking sides here, trying to give alternative viewpoints to, what was going on with the pandemic, with, the shutdown, things with politics. And it's just like, what I don't like is that YouTube will try to, or has tried to, shove political ads down my throat,
Yeah.
of people who have been um, tried and judged by his peers to be guilty of offenses and others, and yet they're okay with running those ads and shoving those down my throat, whereas people, get canceled or they get a slap on the wrist for just, trying to share their point of view.
Yeah.
So I don't what I don't like about YouTube is having to kind of tiptoe around everything. And I wish YouTube would start working more with StreamYard to be able to, when people do multi-streaming on other channels, that everybody can see everybody else instead of having to jump from channel to channel. I think they need to work more closely with these other outside streaming services. And I think they would be able to get more people wanting to create channels and participating more, with YouTube. What I do like about YouTube is, you know, my tarot community, learning about tarot, my art community, being able to, see videos, music videos and things, but just there are YouTube communities that this is how I socialize with my fellow readers, my subscribers, my chatters. Um, I think it's a good platform for that, and I just hope moving forward that people who want to make good and better in the world um, shouldn't have to be so much afraid of being censored, though, if they go against what because there's always going to be people paying other people money and stuff to kind of like a lobbyist,
Yeah.
push this on YouTube, but don't let them say, you know what I mean. So I
Mhm.
really would like to see less politics and money corporate control within that, and allow it to become more organically, expressive, viable, and to have and to have protections in place, because we don't want people to get threatened or anything. It's just people's priorities have not been in the best of places when it comes to social media as of late. So I know Tom was talking about Discord. I might look into that, so that I'm not so having to be so afraid. Not afraid, but having to be too mindful. I mean, I speak my mind the best I can on my channel, and so far, knock on wood, I haven't pissed off the powers that be on YouTube. But
I, I just froze for a second. I know that my counter just started over,
oh,
and
that's
yeah,
weird.
it's happened before. And so, Art, Diane, welcome, welcome,
Oh,
and
somebody here.
yeah, she came in
Oh,
from
Art SMR Diane. Hello.
yeah, and so I put some orangey colors in here,
Looks good.
and I think it kind of pops off a
Yep.
little bit better.
Stands
And
stands out better. Yep.
yeah, well, you know what? I have really appreciated this a lot, Heather.
Oh, well, thank
And
you, though. I appreciate you too.
yeah, and this has been just a wonderful experience. That's all I can say.
I'm glad
And
to hear that. I was hoping I wouldn't disappoint.
no, especially have somebody more knowledgeable about art than well, I'm self-taught, so an art idiot. So
Oh,
just
stop calling yourself an idiot. Stop that.
all right, sorry. But,
You're a novice. You're a novice. You're learning. We're always learning. So there you go.
I don't have the vocabulary. I have an intuitive approach to art, and
You do
so
have a vocabulary because you do write very good poetry. So
yes. What I'm saying is my my approach to painting and everything is more intuitive and it's less bookish.
less what?
It's less by a book
Oh,
because
bookish. Okay.
bookish because I only had high school art for like 2 years. And so
Yeah.
I go completely off of my intuition versus
Mm-hmm.
knowing. So it's the experiential knowledge. We put it that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll take
And
that.
but you have head knowledge.
I have what?
Head knowledge.
Head knowledge.
Well, you said you went to art school.
Well, I went to college. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Anyway, nevertheless, you're more of an expert than I am. But that's okay. And which is great that you're here. I'm not to mean seem like I'm anyways, that's all right. Before I stick my foot too far in my
Oh
mouth.
no, you are fine. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you inviting me so much. I had a good time.
Mama Sushi, I haven't gotten your email yet. And yes, I would like to do another show with you, Mama Sushi, but I haven't if you I haven't looked at my email since yesterday. And so no, I will go back in there and look, and if not, then just please send the email again, Mama Sushi. So it's not I haven't said any no's here. Anyways, so here we are, and I think it's a very beautiful
Ta-da!
a new addition. Oh yeah, that's right. There was the one other thing I need to do here, and we are looking at um, this is February 18th.
And Michelle says, your art is beautiful. Your artistic vocabulary will improve. You're self taught with raw talent. Hats off to you. Nicely
Coloring
said, Michelle.
the tarot. Well, I have a low self esteem, like a lot of people do, and coloring the tarot with Indigo J. Is this your spirit animal?
One of them,
The indigo, the blue, the blue
Indigo
jaguar.
Jaguar. The dark blue.
Well, I want to also thank everybody else for coming into the chat.
Yes.
Hello, to pushing the like button and then heading on over to Indigo Jaguar's channel and subscribing and liking and then and doing all those buttons here and everything.
It
And so
has been
then
fun, Tom. Yes.
yeah, and eventually Tom is going to come on and Sam is going to come on and so forth and other people and I think art our SMR Diane, I think that she might be able to come on too in the future and
I'd be interested, really interested to see what Tom would have you pull for colors. That would
yeah,
be cool. Because
yeah,
Tom has such an array of different decks and colors and styles. I'd be interested to see what he would choose. So that would be really cool.
yeah, yeah. Anyways, that's all we got. And Sam, yeah, I understand. Well, I mean, most people have low self-esteem. That's
Oh
something
yeah,
you,
it happens. Yeah.
struggle with.
Especially
It
this day
comes,
and age.
and
Yeah.
especially when you're a teenager. And there's another.
Ooh.
Sam, I'm going to give you a truth that's I've come to realize is kind of true of not everybody, but most people exit their teenage years thinking that they're ugly. And then most people, by the time they're in their 60s, believe they're beautiful.
Hmm. Interesting.
And because this was like a conversation I had with one of my neighbors, and she was like really popular in high school, but she left high school believing she was ugly. And then it's somewhere around a person's 40s, I think it is when the mind starts to change.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere around that time. But I
Because we're
think that
getting older and we have more wisdom. We've seen the world. We know and understand more of what goes on in the world, and than we do when we're younger. We see what matters the most, or hopefully we discover what really matters the most, and that changes your perspective.
it does.
Um, drastically. Yeah.
And then when you're in your teenage years, you're always comparing yourself to other people and your peers and everything else. And that's where there's always somebody who's better looking than you because maybe you're not in the popular the cliques or whatever. And then
Oh yeah,
maybe if you
that was
are in
me.
those cliques, everybody is comparing themselves to each other. And then because that's
Mm.
just the nature of being a kid, and then you leave that environment and you have to learn how to be an adult, and social media doesn't help and magazines don't help, and so you leave your teenage years with all that baggage, and which takes you anywhere from a few years to decades to unwind and unpack and get out of. And so that was
Mm-hmm.
just one thing I just wanted to mention to Sam there, is that anyways.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyways, I that's all we got. I have to get moving along here and to take care of my duties, and I wanted to really thank Heather for being here and for this wonderful conversation that we had today.
Yep.
And
Thank you.
yeah,
Thank you, everybody, for showing up.
yeah, thank you. And we'll see you the next time. The next time I will be on Friday, I will be finishing the star with Care Bear Bar the Cards.
Yay, Karen.
Yeah. And then next week we'll have some people on, which I'm not sure who's going to be on next week because I haven't got
Stay
that.
tuned.
Yeah.
Subscribe to Bill.
Yeah,
There you go.
and all right, we'll talk to you later. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.